Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the course Management Information Systems. In the last lecture, we were doing the software platform from the IT infrastructure. इसमें हमने देखा था that there were two different kinds of major softwares, the system software and the application software. And we concluded that both these softwares are critical in achieving the goals of the organization. When we were talking about system software, तो हमने देखा था system software is used to control and coordinate the different functions of the computer. और उसमें दो major categories थे, operating system and utility programs. Operating systems का हमने देखा था that when they were working, उसके different functions देखे थे, that how the operating system is used to control the different functions of the computer. Also, when we were looking at these two softwares, application software and system software, we looked at these in the light of a terminology called the sphere of influence. That वो किस group को influence कर रहे हैं. Either it was the personal group, the work group, or the whole enterprise. So there were the three sphere of influences जिसको हमने देखा था, and इन्हीं softwares को we looked at these softwares in the light of these sphere of influences. And we saw that when the operating systems were working for personal computers, they had different functions, and when they were working for work group or when they were working for enterprises, then they had some additional functionalities as well. For example, work group के लिए हमने देखा था that the additional functionality was that the operating system was used to also report for every activity that was done or every process that was done, accomplished. तो वो उसकी reporting कर रहा था. Similarly, enterprise level पे जो operating system काम कर रहे थे, they had added functionalities. After that, we looked at the different kinds of application softwares. और जब हम application software की बात कर रहे थे, then we saw that again they had different kinds of they were working in the different sphere of influences, personal, work group, and enterprise. And application software were bought or either made. This is the two basic things that we saw, that either the companies were going for a proprietary software or they were going for an off-the-shelf software. Proprietary means that they were custom building it. They were building the software from the scratch that would be used within the company and it would be owned by the company. Off-the-shelf software means that they can simply go and buy the software from any kind of external vendor. Right जी, दोनों के advantages और disadvantages थे. Proprietary का advantage था that it completely caters to the needs of the organization या जिस business process के लिए वो बनाया गया है. It was completely according to the needs. उसमें कोई चीज़ extra नहीं थी. Off the shelf में ये problem हो सकता है that even though that matches the needs of a certain process, but उसमें extra चीज़ें हैं जो कि नहीं required. But then again, we concluded that if the company wants to go for a proprietary software, then it has to think about it twice and go according to a plan, because it has to meet the needs of a certain process or it has to meet the needs of the organization. अगर तो कोई ऐसी need है that is very regular, so it can be fulfilled by any off-the-shelf software, or it could be fulfilled by any kind of open source software जिसके अंदर आप थोड़ी सी changes करके उसको अपनी need के accordingly कर सकते हैं. Then again, जब हमने off-the-shelf softwares की बात की थी, then we said that off-the-shelf softwares में दो तीन तरह के आ जाते हैं. We have the open source software, we have the shareware, the freeware, and public domain softwares that can be cost effective because most of them are free, and they can also be simply implemented. And हमने देखा था कि open source software was not only free, but उसका source code can be modified as well, and it could be reliable as well. We saw that open source softwares में multiple programmers जब काम कर रहे हैं, then they were making the software, fixing the bugs continuously and making the software reliable. Also, when we were talking about the operating systems, हमने embedded operating systems की भी बात की थी. That were the embedded की का मतलब है that they were embedded in the different kind of machines. For example, आपकी mobile के अंदर operating systems use हो रहे हैं. You have the Windows CE operating system that is being used in the consumer electronics. We have the Windows Mobile that was used in different kinds of cell phones. Then we have the smartphones, जिनके अंदर आपके operating systems use हो रहे हैं. We talked about the Symbian operating system, the BlackBerry. We said that iPhone operating system and BlackBerry completely changed the way smartphones work, and then now we have the Google Android. Android के different versions हैं आगे. So these kind of softwares, these kind of operating systems are basically changing the way the businesses do their business, and the way these small devices can be used as complete computers as well. Right? Continuing with the same few things जो हमने hardware के अंदर भी बोली थी, and when we're talking about the software, we're going to continue on the same pattern. We're going to talk about the contemporary hardware platforms as well as the contemporary software platforms today. So like we said, we're going to continue with the module 2, Information Technology Infrastructure, and we're going to move on with chapter 4. मेरी पहले थोड़ी सी mistake होती. I said the first chapter was chapter 1. Yes, it was chapter 1 from module 2, लेकिन वो आपके course का chapter 3 बनता है. So that was chapter 3, the hardware and software. And today we're going to start off with chapter 4, that is the emerging technologies. Right. In this lecture today, we're going to discuss the different kinds of current trends in the computer hardware platforms, the different kind of trends in the computer software platforms. चार पांच चीजें हम देखेंगे in both of these things, in both of the different platforms, and as well as that, we're going to identify the challenges of managing the IT infrastructure and providing the management solutions. Because once the infrastructure changes and the business changes from one kind of set platform to another kind of platform, or they change the way they're using their IT, then that involves a lot of management as well. कि वो अपने IT को upgrade कर रहे हैं या वो इस किस्म की information technology use कर रहे हैं that is too much upgraded or too much trendy, then how can they manage everything? Right. So why are we doing or going into this emerging technologies or the new trends is because of the ever-changing developments in the computer processing, the memory, hardware, etc., different softwares में जो changes आ रहे हैं. So the technology is improving at a very fast rate, right? And because of all that, there are tremendous changes in how the businesses do their businesses. So the very first one, contemporary in the contemporary hardware platform, is the emerging mobile digital platform. Mobile digital platform basically simply means that the businesses are now moving towards the smartphones or the mobile phones जिसको आप कहते हैं, but once they have the operating system in it, we call them the smartphones. How they're using the smartphones in their businesses now instead of simple computers. Desktop computers या laptops की जगह या handheld computers की जगह आपके smartphones use हो रहे हैं. So basically the tagline here is that the smartphones are evolving to become the handheld computers. And why? And how are you doing that? Because with the help of smartphones, you're not just using that phone as a simple phone, you're transmitting data, digital data from one device to another. You are surfing the web, ठीक है, आप इंटरनेट के ऊपर जा रहे हैं उसके ऊपर. Then you're doing the emailing, you're doing the text messaging, you're doing the instant messaging as well. You're sending pictures from one device to another, and it is used for displaying any kind of digital content, either it's in a pictorial form or a textual form. So the smartphones or these kind of new small devices are changing the way how they work and how the businesses can use them to improve their processes. Right जी. So different kinds हैं, इसमें तीन basically बताई गई हैं. That number one is low cost lightweight sub notebooks जिनको netbooks कहते हैं. They are basically used for increased internet access as well as wireless communication के लिए netbooks use हो रही हैं. Then you have the tablet computers like आपका iPad or Android tablets as well. Then there are the digital ebook readers. Digital ebook readers में आपके पास example है Kindle की, that is by Amazon. So that is used for reading online books as well as accessing the internet as well. Right जी. So these are the basic three types of devices in the mobile digital platform that the businesses have are now using them to access the internet or do different kinds of work. So the businesses computing will gradually move towards the mobile devices. For example, we have an example of a medical device firm जो medical devices sell करते हैं. उनके sales representatives जो हैं, they use their smartphones to access an online CRM, online customer relationship management application, and with that as well as they access the sales data online as well, and they get information about the customers before they meet the customers. So sales representatives are basically on the move and they are trying to sell their products to different customers. So basically what they do, if they're on the move, they only have the smartphones with them, they access the online applications and then they access the sales data before they meet any customer. So in a way they're changing the way how they do business. Instead of sitting on the computer checking everything and then going out to do their business. Alright, next we have the grid computing. Grid computing, we did it slightly before when we were doing the hardware platform. थोड़ा सा और उसको देख लेते हैं. That grid computing, what did we define grid computing as? It was basically connecting geographically remote computers, ठीक है, into a single network, so as to increase its processing power and so as to make it as a one supercomputer. Right, and they all work in a grid, and when they work in a grid in such a way that their computing power is combined. Right, so it basically combines the computational power of all the computers in the grid. So why is that possible? The reason behind it that the grid computing became possible is because most of the computers use their CPUs for only 25% of the time of a certain work is given to them. So आपका जो usage of the CPU hai, that is not 100%, it's only 25%. So when only 25% of the CPU is being used, that means that the rest of 75% is left idle. So because of the resources that are left idle, they have to be used somehow. That's why the concept of grid computing came, because to use those idle resources. So they also with that they use special software programs to control and allocate these resources. So like I said before, that in a grid one of the server acts as a basically a kind of a server that distributes their work between different kinds of resources. So the benefits of the grid computing would be that instead of buying new kinds of hardware, you can utilize the original resources and to perform more computational tasks by combining them in a grid. So in return that follows up with lots of cost savings, ठीक है, speed of computing आपके, because there are different computer processing जब combine हो जाती है, then it allows the speed of computing, the agility, that means आपके जो computers हैं that can be added and taken out of the system, and obviously reduce power consumption. जब हम power consumption की बात करते हैं and the kind of cost savings की बात करते हैं, then I think I told you in the last lecture as well that when you increase the power of the system, that means कि उसकी ज़्यादा heat produce हो रही है. Then obviously there are methods to cool down the system, and that also requires a lot of cost. And then again, when you're using certain kinds of mainframes, then you need special kind of rooms to keep the temperature and जिसमें आप उनको maintain कर रहे होते हैं, उनको cool कर रहे होते हैं. So all this heating and cooling, that is just one cost after another. So that's why when you're using the same computers, and when you're using different computers for the computational computing the complex tasks, तो आपके पास एक element आ जाता है that you don't have to add in more hardware. That means you don't need to add in more heat, you don't need to add in more cooling mechanisms. So that saves a lot of cost. Right. Then we have a new concept of virtualization. A virtualization basically क्या है? It's a process of presenting computer resources. ठीक है, resources क्या हो सकते हैं? You have the computer processing power, you have the memory, you have RAM, you have the storage, these kind of resources that are accessed without restrictions of geographic location or physical configuration. That means that you can access these resources, even if you are sitting here, you can access the resource that is somewhere else in a geographical region. Right? आप यहाँ बैठे हैं और आप storage जो है वो किसी और मुल्क में पड़ा हुआ है वो use कर रहे हैं, ठीक है, या किसी और शहर में पड़ा हुआ storage resource use कर रहे हैं, right? Or without physical configuration. And how? अभी देख लेते हैं. Because virtualization क्या करता है? It enables दो तरीके हैं. It enables single physical resource to appear to users as multiple logical resources, right? एक ये तरीका हो गया that enables एक single physical resource है that appears to users as multiple logical resources. For example, you have one computer here, right? अब आप एक कंप्यूटर में एक ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम इंस्टॉल करते हैं, right? कुछ लोग ये होते हैं कि मल्टीपल ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम्स इंस्टॉल करते हैं. कैसे? अब आपने एक पार्टीशन के ऊपर एक ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम इंस्टॉल किया, दूसरी पार्टीशन के ऊपर दूसरा ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम इंस्टॉल किया. But the problem in installing like that is you cannot access both the operating systems at the same time. Right? You cannot do that. आप एक operating system खोलेंगे, when you start up the computer, then either it goes to one operating system or it goes to another one. Virtualization क्या allow करता है? That you can create one instance of operating system और उसके अंदर ही you create another instance of operating system. Right? So there are special softwares that allow you to do that. One of the software is VMware, जिसको हम बोलते हैं VMware software, that allows कि आप एक operating system आप use कर रहे हैं, उसके अंदर ही आप दूसरा operating system install कर रहे हैं in a virtual environment. Right? So basically it works in a virtual environment, that other operating system, and you can simultaneously work on both the operating systems at the same time. So, for example, this kind of thing is if this kind of thing is implemented in any kind of a server, so that means the other person is accessing one machine, but उसको multiple logical resources मिल रहे हैं, उसको 2-3 operating systems मिल रहे हैं उस एक single machine से. Right जी. Then it enables multiple physical resources to appear as a single logical resource. Again, हमारे पास ये वाला concept आ जाता है when you're working with the multiple storage facilities. जब हमने storage area networks की बात की थी, then we said कि different multiple resources हैं, लेकिन they are sort of combining together and यूजर्स को जो नज़र आ रहा है वो एक लॉजिकल रिसोर्स नज़र आ रही है, ठीक है. सो आपके यहाँ पे एक सैन या स्टोरेज एरिया नेटवर्क की एग्जांपल आ जाती है, या ग्रिड कंप्यूटिंग की एग्जांपल आ जाती है, दैट डिफरेंट कंप्यूटर्स हैं, बट टू द यूजर or to anybody who is accessing that grid or accessing that server, तो उसके अंदर हमारे पास ये चीज़ आ जाती है that user को वो एक single logical resource नज़र आती है, even though there are multiple servers there that are using the RAIDs, but to the user they look as if they are a single resource, ठीक है. So वो जहाँ पे भी place करना चाहे अपनी file place कर देता है. Right, so I hope this is clear that when we're working with virtualization, so basically it enables कि एक physical resource जो है वो multiple logical resources के तौर पे नज़र आती है, और multiple physical resources जो हैं वो एक logical resource के तौर पे नज़र आती है. So virtualization basically gives you the ability to change one physical resource into multiple logical resources, ठीक है जी. राइट जी, बहुत सारे बेनिफिट्स आ जाते हैं आपके पास वर्चुअलाइजेशन के, दैट द कंप्यूटिंग प्रोसेसिंग स्टोरेज हैंडल्ड यूजिंग कंप्यूटर रिसोर्सेज एट रिमोट लोकेशंस, देन यू हैव द इंक्रीज इक्विपमेंट यूटिलाइजेशन. राइट, वर्चुअलाइजेशन में एक मशीन है एंड यू हैव मल्टीपल ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम्स इंस्टॉल्ड इन इट विद द हेल्प ऑफ वर्चुअलाइजेशन. कंजर्विंग द डेटा सेंटर स्पेस, अगेन बिकॉज आपकी एक ही मशीन जो है वो डिफरेंट काम कर सकती है, दैट मीन्स के यू डोंट हैव टू हैव मोर हार्डवेयर इन योर डेटा सेंटर. कंजर्विंग द एनर्जी यूजेज, also run legacy systems on old operating system on the same server. Right, legacy system means that certain companies have their एज ओल्ड सिस्टम्स और एज ओल्ड ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम्स के ऊपर आपके जो एप्लीकेशंस चल रही हैं, तो दे समटाइम्स दे आर वेरी वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू मूव ऑन टू अ न्यू सिस्टम, राइट जी. बहुत सी कंपनीज को बहुत ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम होती है व्हेन दे आर मूविंग ऑन टू डिफरेंट काइंड्स ऑफ ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम्स और डिफरेंट काइंड्स ऑफ एप्लीकेशन सॉफ्टवेयर्स को किसी और ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम पे चलाने के लिए. It's very difficult for them to move that code to another kind of system. So virtualization basically gives them the ability कि वो original operating system के ऊपर अपना पुराना legacy system चलाएं, as well as they can install a new kind of operating system and new kind of applications on the same server. ठीक है, again old के ऊपर ही उन्होंने new system को install किया और new applications को install किया with the help of virtualization. Right. Again, it allows centralization of hardware administration. Again, because there won't be any ज़्यादा आपके servers नहीं होंगे, ज़्यादा आपका hardware load नहीं होगा. So that means कि आपकी hardware administration जो है वो centralize हो जाती है. Now we come to the concept of cloud computing. Cloud computing, again, virtualization के concepts से ही निकला है, but it has been much more refined in a way that now there are service providers that provide these kind of services जो कि virtualization के ऊपर based हैं. That is the computer processing, storage, software and other kind of services are obtained as a pool of virtualized resources over the networks from the cloud service providers. ठीक है जी. अब सिंपल इसी चीज़ है, जब हमने बोला था कि वर्चुअलाइजेशन इज बेसिकली यूज कि आपके मल्टीपल फिजिकल रिसोर्सेज को एक लॉजिकल रिसोर्स के तौर पे इट वाज गिविंग इट टू द यूजर्स. देन this concept was again taken up by these kind of service providers जिनको cloud service providers कहते हैं. What do? They provide the storage, they provide the computer processing, they provide the storage capabilities, they provide different kinds of softwares and other kind of services online through the help of networks, ठीक है, and they are obtained as a pool of virtualized resources. ठीक है, आपका एक स्टोरेज का, प्रोसेसिंग का, सॉफ्टवेयर का एक सॉर्ट ऑफ ग्रुप सा बना के जो भी कस्टमर जिसको रिक्वायरमेंट, जो भी रिक्वायर्ड चीज़ें हैं वो उनको दे देते हैं. अब उसको समझने के लिए इसके मेन कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स देख लेते हैं. क्लाउड कंप्यूटिंग, व्हाट इज इट? इट्स एन ऑन डिमांड सेल्फ सर्विस. ऑन डिमांड सेल्फ सर्विस मीन्स दैट वट एवर द कस्टमर रिक्वायर्स वही चीज़ें उनको दी जाती हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इफ द कस्टमर रिक्वायर्स ओनली the storage facility to be given by the cloud service provider, then he will only be given that storage facility. A storage facility again can be accessed through the ubiquitous network access. Means जो भी simple आप networking के लिए अपना wireless networks use कर रहे हैं या जो भी internet use कर रहे हैं, it's basically done through the simple internet. Right, location independent resource pooling means that you don't have to know where that resource is. Right, different kind of resources, different geographical locations में होंगी और वो आपको pool करके दे दी जाएंगी. Rapid elasticity means that if you don't require a certain amount of processing, if you don't require a certain amount of storage, तो वो storage cut कर दी जाती है. Right, so it's according to your demands. You can increase it or decrease the amount of storage or processing capabilities or the kind of softwares that you require. तो उसकी amount decrease or increase की जा सकती है on the cloud computing service. Right, and then there has a measured service. Measured service means that आपको उसी चीज़ के लिए पे करना पड़ेगा जो चीज़ आप यूज़ कर रहे हैं. Right? For example, if you're using a certain amount of storage, तो आपको certain amount के लिए pay करने पड़ेगा. If you're using a certain amount of computing processing, तो आपको सिर्फ उसके लिए pay करना पड़ेगा. You don't have to pay for anything extra. Because it's on-demand self-service, that's why whatever you're using, you're paying for that thing only. At a point when you've stopped using something, you don't have to pay for that thing. So basically, cloud computing gives you the ability of scalability as well, that you can according to your business you can either increase technology or decrease the technology, increase the computing processing, increase the computational power of your requirement that is according to your requirement, or you can simply decrease the computational power. Right जी, cloud computing में जो services दी जाती हैं that are basically in 3 different forms. एक को कहते हैं cloud infrastructure, that is also called infrastructure as a service. Then you have the cloud platform, that is called platform as a service as well. And then you have cloud software, that is called software as a service. So software as a service को हम in the software section भी देख लेंगे. Cloud infrastructure means that the cloud service provider is giving you the computer processing, the any kind of hardware facility जो आपको required है वो आपको online दी जा रही है. Right जी, इसके अलावा you have the platform service. Cloud platform means that platform as a service means that the cloud service providers are giving you the infrastructure as well as the software tools that you can use to build or develop any kind of new application. Right जी, so आपको वो सारा एक complete infrastructure online दे रहे हैं that you can simply use. ठीक है, जो भी आपको requirement है application develop करने के लिए, you use that and you develop your own application. Right जी, software का है software as a service जब हम use कर रहे होते हैं तो उसमें ये difference आ जाता है that the cloud service provider or that vendor basically has the software and the hardware, right? And the customer is only using that software for its own purposes, right? वो सारा कुछ उनके hardware पे store हो रहा है, सारी application उनके system पे run हो रही है, and we are simply using that software. So इसकी एक example हमने अभी, when I told you that the medical device की company की example दी थी, that the medical device company salespersons basically access the CRM online. So when I said the CRM online is a kind of a customer relationship management that is given by a company called Salesforce.com, and they have it online on their site. So any company can use that software और उनका अपना एक setup develop हुआ होता है on the internet as a cloud, right? So that they can access it online and they can do whatever they want to do, store, retrieve information, any kind of functionality that they want to do online. So that फिर उनको अपना hardware manage करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, उनको अपना software manage करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. They only have bought that whole cloud, software as a service. Right, so then again there are public clouds and there are private clouds. Companies can have their private clouds, they don't have to be public about it. So that's why public clouds ऐसे होते हैं जो आम लोग use कर सकते हैं. Private clouds can be only for the companies as well. So private cloud में आपके पास आ जाता है, it's basically a proprietary network, or let's for example say a data center. ठीक है, एक आपको virtualized data center create हो गया that has servers, storage, networks, data and every kind of things that are required by the people in a certain company. So that becomes your private cloud and nobody else can access it unless and until they are from the same company और जिन लोगों को access है. Cloud computing का भी हम आगे जाके case study भी देख लेंगे, so then it would be quite clear to you कि on demand service जो है and software as a service ये किस तरह काम कर रहे हैं. So we are going to look into the case study as well in the end. Right, next we have the green computing. Again आपको ये सारा जो concept है sort of interrelated है. Green computing is practices and technologies of designing, manufacturing and using devices to minimize impact on the environment. Like I said, कि जिस तरह processing powers increase होती जाती हैं, उसी तरह जो systems की heat है वो भी ज़्यादा generate होती है. So basically the basic purpose is to reduce the power consumption. And again virtualization and cloud computing basically gave way to this concept of green computing. And there are different kinds of metrics जिनको कहते हैं measurements होती हैं कि आप किस तरह green computing के लिए एक device को measure कर सकते हैं. That is, it's by the help of its power usage effectiveness or data center infrastructure efficiency and average data efficiency. So this is just a basic आपको briefly explain किया गया कि green computing basically उन कंप्यूटर सिस्टम्स को कहते हैं या उस टेक्नोलॉजी को हम कहेंगे जिसमें आपकी पावर कंजम्पशन जो है वो बहुत रिड्यूस्ड है. राइट जी. Autonomic computing means that the more computer systems become complex, it's more difficult to manage them. Right जी, because आपके अब operating system के अंदर virtualization means that operating system के अंदर operating system आ रहा है, one server has multiple operating systems installed, उसके different instances चल रहे हैं. Right, then you have the multiple physical resources acting as a logical resource. So computer systems are becoming more complex, and that's why it's becoming hard to manage all of them. So efforts are there to develop systems themselves, optimize and heal themselves, and also protect from intruders. So the development is moving towards the fact that the computers can now heal themselves, they can optimize themselves, and they can develop themselves in such a way that they can save themselves from the intruders as well. ठीक है, एक simple सी example है that is being used nowadays is the computer firewall system or the antivirus systems. ठीक है, what do they do once you install the firewall, once you install the antivirus application? So it checks for the viruses, it checks for any kind of malicious softwares, and either it prompts or it's or if अगर आपने इसको program इस तरह किया हुआ है कि वो सिर्फ उनको quarantine कर दे या खुद kill कर दे. So these kind of softwares are used for the protection of the computer. So this is one example of the autonomic computing. इसके अलावा this autonomic computing is in a development phase, and different kinds of softwares are being developed to protect the computer so that they can protect them on their own. And they can also sort of fix themselves on their own. Right, here we end our contemporary hardware platform. हमने इसमें 5 चीजें देखी थी. We looked at the 6 actually. We looked at the emerging mobile digital platform, how smartphones are evolving to become handheld devices. Then we looked at the grid computing, that how geographically different locations per place computers can act in a grid and act as a supercomputer when you combine the computational power of these computers in the grid. Then we saw that there's another concept of virtualization. ठीक है, जो grid computing को भी आगे लेके जाता है, that multiple resources को हम एक logical resource के तौर पे पेश करते हैं, and they act as a logical resource and people can utilize it in a much better way, utilize the hardware in a much better way. And virtualization, based on the virtualization, we had cloud computing, जिसमें different cloud service providers हैं, वो virtualization का concept use करके ही computer processing, storage and different kinds of hardware facilities provide करते हैं to different customers. ठीक है, and then we saw that cloud computing में different types आ जाती हैं. You have the cloud infrastructure, cloud platform, and cloud software as well. Right, then we looked in the green computing. Again, green computing came out of the concept that the power consumption should be less. इन सारी चीज़ों के जो virtualization है, grid computing है और cloud computing है, इन सब का basic theme क्या है? It's all about cost saving, it's all about less power consumption, and it's all about utilizing the already placed resources there. Right, जी resources को कम से कम use करके ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा benefit, ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा cost effectiveness create करने के लिए. And autonomic computing, again, managing computers obviously is a problem. Maintaining computers again is a costly service. So computers or systems इस तरह, softwares इस तरह के use करें so that the computers can automatically optimize themselves and heal themselves. Right, now we come to the contemporary software platforms. The software platforms में the first thing that we have is the open source software. Again, we talked about this open source software before as well, जब हम application softwares की बात कर रहे थे, that basically open source softwares are free to use, and they're free to be modified as well. They have their source code available, and you can change the source code as well. But जिस तरह आपका operating system आपको freely मिला है, then anything that you create on that open source code, or if you modify that open source code, that is again would be free for distribution, and it would be free. You cannot, आप ये नहीं कह सकते open source software का ऊपर आप modification कोई करके आप उसको बेच नहीं सकते, because you got it for free. You have to put that software online for free as well, and it can be redistributed as well free of cost again. Right, the open source software may basically it is produced by a community of several hundred thousands of programmers all around the world. They are working together to produce different kinds of softwares. That's why any kind of problem in the software is fixed by a lot of number of programmers as well. ठीक है, so जो ही bugs आते हैं उसी तरह उसके जो fixes हैं वो create होना शुरू हो जाते हैं. Again, free, modifiable and free to be redistributed. Open source software का बहुत basic example is an open source operating system, that is Linux, which is an operating system based on which is related to Unix, and its applications are embedded in smartphones, netbooks and consumer electronics. So Linux जो है वो आपका बहुत popular open source operating system है that was being used from a long time now. And now different applications and different companies जो हैं वो उस तरह की applications बना रही हैं that can be run on that are Linux compatible, जिसको हम कहते हैं, that can run on the Linux platform. So IBM, HP, Dell, Oracle produce Linux compatible versions of their products, and they're also used in web servers and high performance computing. So आपका Linux operating system जो है, which is an open source operating system, that is used in different kinds of not only it is used in the handheld computers and smartphones, it is used in web servers and high performance computing as well. So again आपका एक emerging technology है जो छोटे से छोटे device से लेके आपकी बड़ी devices तक use हो रहा है. Again, Linux और open source software के क्या benefits हैं? Again, cost reduction, because they do not cost much, minimal cost होती है या free of cost होते हैं. आपका Linux का सॉफ्टवेयर भी जो है, Linux ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम भी है, वो फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट होता है, और कुछ मॉडिफिकेशंस के साथ it can be you have to pay very minimum amount for that. And then reliability, because again we said that open source के लिए जो bugs होते हैं वो automatic, वो जो bugs आते रहते हैं उसके साथ साथ जो community होती है that puts in an effort to fix the bugs as soon as possible, and it allows for integration. So because there are different kinds of softwares that जो कि open source softwares हैं जो सिर्फ open source applications में ही नहीं, different आपके दूसरे applications और operating systems में भी use हो रहे हैं. So open source के again we have the cost reduction, the reliability and the integration are the benefits of using the open source softwares. Then we have the service oriented architecture. Service oriented architecture थोड़ा आपको मुश्किल लगेगा concept. Again, इसमें एक बहुत important चीज़ है, that is called a web service. Now, web service basically is a set of loosely coupled software components that exchange information with each other using standard web communication standards and languages. ठीक है, अब इसका basically concept है that different kinds of applications simply exchange information without human intervention. Okay, you don't have to develop a certain code for one application to communicate with the other application. Simply, there's standards हैं, उसके communication standards हैं, and उसकी communication language है. कि अगर आपने वो programs उन languages में लिखे हुए हैं, then they can simply communicate over the internet. Right जी. अब basically they're used to build open standard web-based applications that can link the systems. Either they can link the systems of one organization with another organization, or they can link the systems of within one organization as well. ठीक है? So आपके एक organization का जो data है वो दूसरी organization के data से communicate कर रहा है. So this is basically the purpose of the service-oriented architecture. So इसकी जो language use हो रही है, that is the XML. That is the extensible markup language, which is more powerful than HTML. HTML, I'm sure आपको पता होगा, that's the hypertext markup language that is used to display that is used for presentation content on the web page, right जी. अब but on the other hand आपका XML जो है, it's not only for presentation, it performs presentation, it performs communication, and it allows the storage of data as well. So your XML language is basically more powerful than HTML because it not only is used to present data, it's used for communication between the applications as well as storage of the data, and it provides a standard format for data exchange as well, right जी. आपको दो applications जब communicate कर रही हैं over the internet on their own, then it provides a standard for how they're going to communicate, how are they going to exchange the data between each other. Right, so service-oriented architecture basically is a combination of these kind of web services. It is a set of self-contained services that communicate with one another to create a working software application. Right, इसकी एक example है IBM's WebSphere e-business software platform. ठीक है, different companies are now moving towards a software-oriented architecture and developing such kind of platforms, जिसमें IBM का WebSphere e-business software platform है, and also Microsoft's .NET platform, जिसके ऊपर आप different applications create करते हैं for the internet. That means उसमें HTML भी यूज़ होता है, उसमें Java भी यूज़ हो रही है, उसमें different kind of languages का एक पूरा platform होता है that you can use to create pages for the internet और web pages जिसको हम कहते हैं. complete websites create करने के लिए आप जब use करते हैं .NET platform, then उसके अंदर भी there are facilities of the service oriented architecture. ठीक है, इसमें आपको ये सब कुछ दिया जाता है so that you can use the XML and define a simple standards. So XML basically defines not only that कि वो present कैसे करना है, but communicate कैसे करना है, and also it gives you the standards for data exchange as well. Right जी. And basically आपके XML जो है that is also used in the different kinds of ERP softwares as well. Again हमने कहा था enterprise resource planning softwares के अंदर आपके ये use हो रहा है. It is a standard format for data exchange so that it can exchange information from one process to another business process. Right जी. इसकी एक example देख लेते हैं that we have it here. So we have this, for example, we have this $rent-a-car, which is using the web services. $rent-a-car, simple rent-a-car service है जिसका एक legacy reservation system already काम कर रहा है, right जी? So अब वो क्या करना चाह रहे हैं that rent-a-car जो है वो किस जगह useful हो सकती है. For example, somebody is coming from the airport. So in this example, we have this $rent-a-car which is using the web services to communicate its data to the different other kinds of businesses. और में क्या included है? Airline system included है, tour operators included है, travel reservation systems, wireless website, etc. etc. Wireless website means के mobile phones वगैरह की site. So with the help of the web services, अब क्या कर सकते हैं? अब क्या हो सकता है कि अब उन्होंने क्या किया कि airlines की जो website थी उसके ऊपर एक link अपना भी दे दिया. उसी वेबसाइट के ऊपर you can also rent a car as well, right? जो भी जिस जगह पे भी आ रहा है वहाँ पे वो rent a car भी कर सकता है. And how is that possible? With the help of a web service. So basically the web service was communicating the data of the rent a car company with the data of the airlines company. And for that the rent-a-car company didn't have to write a specific code for that. It only had to implement that web service architecture, or service-oriented architecture, and with the help of that, the data of the different other companies was merging with the data of the rent-a-car company. Right, so this is a simple example of a web service, how a web service can be used to communicate, to create a communication of the data exchange between the different kinds of applications that were running on one computer, or on one computer of the airline system or the other kind of computer of the rent-a-car service. So either, and it does not have to depend on any kind of language, जिसमें भी उनका code लिखा हुआ है reservation का या उनका code लिखा हुआ है airline system का, it doesn't have to depend on that. Communication के लिए, if they're using the service-oriented architecture, if you're using the XML, then simply communication के लिए ये चीज़ें काफ़ी हैं, right जी? So all that data, it can simply take the data from the airline system, or the airline system can simply take the data from the rent-a-car service and show it on the screen. Okay, this car is available, and anybody who's coming can access or reserve the car from the airline site then. Right, again we come to the same topic of cloud services, जिसमें हमने बोला था software as a service को हम थोड़ा सा आगे देख लेंगे. Software outsourcing and cloud services are now there are three types of softwares, like we said that was available before. Number one was the package software. Package software, again, you go to a vendor or software vendor and you simply buy a certain kind of a software and use it in the company. It is a pre-written, commercially available software. For example, SAP is a company that produces the ERP software, so that is one very popular kind of software that is used in different kinds of organizations. Then we have this kind of software that is outsourced for custom development, right? That enables firms to contract custom software development to outside firms, and usually ये वाली firms offshore होती हैं. Offshore means that they are in different countries. So for example, there's somebody in UK, he wants to develop a software, तो वो for example पाकिस्तान में किसी को कह सकता है कि आप ये software हमें develop करके दें. So that means they are outsourcing their software development to somebody else, right? And this is called offshoring as well, because they're moving it to a different country. Right जी? Right जी? So basically पहले तो बहुत ज़्यादा complicated काम है, पहले बहुत ज़्यादा जो जैसे कहते हैं कि न्यू डेवलपमेंट्स जो थी वो ऑफशोर नहीं दी जाती थी. बहुत छोटे लेवल के ऊपर लो लेवल मेंटेनेंस, डेटा एंट्री या कॉल सेंटर किस्म की चीज़ें जो हैं वो ऑफशोर दी जाती थी. But now new program development is also become a fashion to be given to the offshore software development. Right. Then we have the cloud-based software. That means the software and data hosted on powerful servers and accessed through internet and web browser. Again, जिस तरह हमने भी थोड़ी देर पहले बात की थी that there was a CRM software that was given by the Salesforce. So that is the customer relationship management software that is present online. Right, hosted online जिसको हम कह सकते हैं. So software is also hosted online, the data is also hosted online on their own hardwares, and the customers can only use that software. जो भी company है जिसने software use करना है, उसके users, they use that software online through the internet and web browsers. ठीक है, for example MS Word और Adobe Illustrator को भी for example download करना पड़ता था install करने के लिए. Now people can simply use it on the cloud. Right. Then enterprise software, other business functions also available as a service nowadays. Enterprise software की जब हमने बात की थी, again we're going to give you the example of the ERP software that is available by SAP online as well. So this whole concept is again, I would repeat, called as a software as a service, and again it is an on-demand service. जितने अरसे के लिए आपको चाहिए वो सॉफ्टवेयर आप उतने अरसे के लिए यूज़ कर सकते हैं, and it is based on subscription or per transaction basis. Also when you're using these kind of softwares, तो there's one aspect that is called जब आप legal agreement लिखते हैं between using softwares, and there's another kind of service agreement that you have to sign. So आपका ये जो system है that is based on a different kind of agreement, that आपने ये software इस तरह use करना है, इतने अरसे के लिए use करना है, etc. etc. There's a different kind of licensing required for this kind of software. Right. So once we said that there are different kinds of licensing required, हम आगे चल के इसको और देख लेते हैं. When we say that there are certain management issues of IT infrastructure. So when you are changing the IT, the information technology that you're using in the businesses, then there are different kinds of management issues there as well. For example, platform and infrastructure issues. That means when you platform and infrastructure issues means that आपके systems इस तरह के use हो रहे हैं, that is कि your whole infrastructure remains flexible. right जी. And flexibility किस तरह आती है? By the help of scalability. That is the ability of the computer, the product or system to expand to serve large number of users, right? अगर आपके users increase हो रहे हैं, the employee demands are increasing, right जी? So you have then your infrastructure should have the ability or should have the scalability to scale itself up and down. Then new policies, procedures and legal contracts are required if you are changing a certain kind of infrastructure. Again, like I said before, कि जब आप एक platform से दूसरे platform पे move करते हैं, then you require a new set of policies. For example, a company is moving from using the desktop computers to using the smartphones, right? Then again, they have to revise their policies of how the employees are going to utilize that device. Also, they have to you have to sign a different kinds of legal contracts when you are using the cloud computing or grid computing, for example. अगर आप उस तरह के system use कर रहे हैं, then there are different kinds of legal contracts that you have to sign that are based on those kind of technologies. Because अगर आप simply hardware buy करें, उसके ऊपर software install करें, उसकी requirements different है और आपके दूसरी चीज़ की requirements different है. Also, when you're using these kind of technologies, तो उसमें since you don't have a certain control over the applications, you don't have the certain control over the hardware, then there has to be a sort of an agreement between the companies depending upon the response time and availability of the mission critical systems. कि आपको जो systems चाहिए या जो software चाहिए, that has to be available 24/7 or that has to be available from this time to this time. So these kind of agreements have to be made between the companies and the cloud service providers. अगर आप cloud services के अंदर काम कर रहे हैं, right? Then we have the management and governance problem. Management and governance means that it's very difficult to at times decide कि who is basically going to manage the IT infrastructure. CEOs हैं या IT managers हैं, कौन लोग हैं जो एक IT infrastructure को control करेगा. Also, the very important question in managing governance is how will infrastructure costs be allocated among business units. ठीक है, आपके जो business units हैं उसके अंदर costs किस तरह allocate हो रही हैं, या तो different kinds of business units के अपने costs हैं, या फिर जो cost manage हो रही हैं that are working in a centralized way. ठीक है, एक center पे कोई unit है जो सारी cost manage कर रहा है, या हर department या हर unit जो है वो अपने costs manage कर रहा है. So there are different kinds of questions regarding the management and governance of the IT infrastructure that the companies have to sit down and talk about and solve on their own. Right? Then the very important one is the making wise investments in the IT infrastructure. That is, and the major question is how much should be spent on the IT infrastructure. कितना cost लगाना चाहिए when you want to set up an IT infrastructure, या उसको upgrade करना है या उसको change करना है, तो कितनी cost लगानी चाहिए to do that. But for example, अगर cloud computing का platform लाना चाह रहे हैं, then it is low cost and yes, it is flexible, but there are certain issues of security and workflow. That means again you have to consider कि आपने कौन-कौन से processes को cloud computing के ऊपर लेके जाना है और कौन-कौन से critical processes को आप नहीं लेके जा सकते. And then again, when you are talking about the cost, then you have to see that either you have to buy a certain kind of software or rent a certain cost of software. Buy means you're simply buying it off the shelf, and renting means that you are कुछ अरसे के लिए आप वो software rent कर रहे हैं from the cloud service, from the cloud software, for example. Right, so these are the different kinds of questions. Again, when you're working about the costs, we have to also analyze the total cost that is spent into setting up the infrastructure. For example, hardware में कितना जा रहा है, software में कितना जा रहा है, maintenance में कितना लग रहा है, उसके अलावा database manage करने में कितना लग रहा है, storage manage करने में कितना लग रहा है. So there are different, and also IT professionals को train करने में कितना amount लग रहा है. So this is the total cost management जो आपने देखनी होती है when you are investment in the IT. Right, so next we're going to look at how you're going to manage the cost. Okay? One of the ways of doing that is with the help of a competitive forces model. A competitive forces models में the number one is that जब आप IT को upgrade कर रहे हैं या अपनी company में IT को change कर रहे हैं, then you have to look at these things. Number one is the market demand for your firm's customer services, supplier services and enterprise services. That means you need to list out or make a list of all the services that your organization is providing, whether the service is provided to the customers or the employees or the suppliers. So when you list all those kind of services, you see that either these services are being provided in the best of manner or not. Right? Then you have to look at the different kinds of complaints that are coming from either the customers, the suppliers or the employees. So in sub complaints को and सारी list को you have to compare it with each other कि वो किस जगह के ऊपर आपकी company lag कर रही है या किस जगह के ऊपर the employer demands or the customer demands or the supplier demands are not being met. Right? So that basically gives you an idea of what needs to be improved. Number two is your firm's business strategy. Right? The next step that you have to do is to list down the 5-year plan of your company's business strategy. कि आपकी जो company है वो 5 years में क्या achieve करना चाहिए, what are the goals of your company, and you have to move according to that. Then once you've listed out the goals of the company, number third is your firm's IT strategy, infrastructure and cost. Third number के ऊपर आ जाता है the 5-year plan of your IT infrastructure के क्या 5-year plan है, either they meet the business strategy, either they meet the business's 5-year plan or not. So you have to compare that as well. Also determine the total IT cost. जो आपकी information technology में currently cost लग रही है, you have to also list that out as well. Right जी? And then that is going to give you an idea of either if it's going according to the organizational goals or not. Right जी? Then number 4 is information technology. Right जी? Information technology means simply either you are behind the current trends or you are ahead of the current trends. ठीक है? So you have to sort of balance yourself between the two extremes. आपको ना ज़्यादा behind होना चाहिए ना आपको बहुत ज़्यादा आगे होना चाहिए. So you have to sort of be in between the two extremes. And you have to spend on the kind of technology that already has the standards developed. ये ना हो कि you become too risky and go for something that is still in a testing phase or that is extremely new. So you always have to go for the kind of software that is different kinds of vendors available, that has a certain kind of standards set for itself. Right? So information technology को again choose करने के लिए you have to be very careful. You have to fall between, balance yourself between the two extremes. Next है the competitors' firms' IT services. That means once you you have assessed your own IT problems, you have assessed your own requirements for the IT, ठीक है, और जो आपका currently system use हो रहा है, when you have listed that down, तो फिर आप जाके करते हैं कि competitor जो आपका है वो किस किस्म की IT services use कर रहे हैं. So what are the competitors offering in technology and compare it with your IT technology as well as think about ways to excel your IT infrastructure. Right, number 6 is competitors' firms' IT infrastructure investments. Right, most of the firms are pretty much public about how much they have spent on their IT infrastructure, so you can easily do a little bit of comparison of how your company is spending and how they have spent. और अगर उन्होंने आपसे ज़्यादा spend किया है and they are achieving a good amount of benefits from that, then you have to think about moving in that direction as well. Or you can go into a kind of technology or move into the kind of technology that is cost effective but highly beneficial. So basically it's all about comparison with what is going on with your competitors, with what is going on what is the current trend in the technology sector, and what are your organizational goals. So keeping all of that in mind, you have to benchmark the IT infrastructure expenditures. कि आपके competitors ने इतना खर्च किया है, so depending on the use of that technology, either you can go ahead of them or you can reduce a certain cost of a certain technology. So basically, when you are investing in the IT infrastructure or you are trying to manage the IT infrastructure, right, जिससे आपके different चीज़ें, concepts जो हैं या different factors जो हैं वो इस चीज़ को affect कर रहे होते हैं. That means आपके services affect कर रही होती हैं. What are your services? What is the business strategy of your company? What is your IT strategy? Either it is complying with the business strategy of your company or not, and what are the initial costs of your company, what are the current costs of your company, how much can you more spend into the IT, and either it's going to achieve the maximum benefits or not, and what are the competitors doing nowadays. So everything has to be analyzed and compared to achieve the maximum benefits. Right, now we're going to have a look at the case study that is called Cloud Services Go Mainstream. We have the company called Salesforce.com. Again, I'm going to follow the same pattern, read out a few sentences from the different paragraphs, and then we're going to answer the questions. Righty. Salesforce provides customer relationship management and other application software solutions in the form of software as a service. Righty. Salesforce.com company है जो CRM और other application software जो है वो provide करती है online software as a service. Again, it's a cloud software. They follow the on-demand model, and Salesforce attributes its success to the many benefits of its on-demand model of software distribution. Again, we said that when you're using the cloud computing, it's an on-demand model that whatever is the customers required, that is given to them and nothing extra. The on-demand model eliminates the need for large upfront hardware and software investments in system and lengthy implementations on corporate computers. That means the on-demand model में there's no hardware installation, no software installation, or any kind of lengthy installations of any kind of hardware. Righty. And the subscription start as low as $9 per user per month for the pared down group version of small sales and marketing teams. Then the Salesforce.com implementation takes 3 months on the longest and usually less than a month. There is no hardware for subscribers to purchase, scale, and maintain. There are no operating systems, data servers, or application servers to install, no consultants and staff, no expensive licensing and maintenance fee. Right जी, तो आपके on demand model को थोड़ा सा explain किया गया, उसके benefits क्या हैं कि आपने कोई hardware software investments नहीं करनी, कोई बड़ी hardware software investments नहीं है. It has a very low subscription rate. It has a very low subscription rate. There is no operating systems involved, no database servers or application servers to be installed, and there are no expensive licensing and maintenance fee. Right, so these are a few benefits of the on-demand model. However, Salesforce.com को थोड़े से challenges भी हैं. Salesforce faces significant challenges as it continues to grow and refine its businesses. The first challenge comes from increased competition, both from traditional industry leaders and new challengers hoping to replace Salesforce.com's success. For example, Microsoft, SAP, and Oracle. For example, Microsoft, SAP, and Oracle have rolled out subscription-based versions of their CRM products in response to Salesforce. Smaller competitors like NetSuite, SalesBoom, and RideNow also have made some inroads against Salesforce's market share. Also, Salesforce needs to continually improve to customers that it is reliable and secure enough to remotely handle their corporate data and applications. Now, two basic unko challenges hai. Number one is the increased competition. ठीक है, from the traditional companies as well and from the new emerging companies as well. इसके अलावा the basic problem here is that these kind of companies have to tell to the customers that they are reliable and they are secure, because obviously companies के पास तो वो hardware software available नहीं है, right? That is placed on the cloud, that is given to them by this company called Salesforce.com. So they have to explain to the users that they are continuously going to be available and they're going to be reliable. The company has experienced a number of service outages. For example, in January 6, 2009, a core network device failed and prevented data in Europe, Japan and North America from being processed for 38 minutes. ठीक है, so इनको problem इसलिए भी है because one of इनकी एक device fail हो गई थी in 2009. And in February 2009, a similar outage occurred affecting Europe as well as North America a few hours later. ठीक है, so उनकी ये जो problem थी ये 2 बार हो चुकी है. Thus far, Salesforce has experienced only one security breach. In November 2007, a Salesforce employee was tricked into divulging its corporate password to scammers, exposing Salesforce customer list. Salesforce clients were subjected to a barrage of highly targeted scams and hacking attempts that appeared authentic. Right? See, अब Salesforce के साथ 2 attacks हो चुके हैं, 3 in fact. 2 of them were related with the service problem and 1 of them was related with the security issue. Another challenge for Salesforce is to expand its business model into other areas. Salesforce is currently used mostly by sales staff needing to keep track of leads and customer lists. Again, जो मैंने example दी थी, online CRM use कर रहे थे medical representatives to access information about their different kinds of customers. Right. On way, the company is trying to provide additional functionality is through a partnership with Google and more specifically Google Apps. Salesforce is combining its services with Gmail, Google Docs, Google Talk and Google Calendar to allow its customers to accomplish more tasks via the web. Right जी, अब अभी तक हमने क्या देखा है, उसमें कंपनी के बारे में देखा है कि वो क्या करते हैं, provides the customer relationship management software and other kinds of applications online through software as a service. On demand model use करते हैं, again because the cloud computing is all about the on demand model. उसके benefits देखे हैं, and then as well as the challenges that are faced by this company. One of the challenges because it has competition. Second challenge is it has to prove itself that it's secure and reliable. Third challenge is that it needs to expand the business model, it has to stay in the business. And also it has to provide constant availability. Right, Salesforce also has partnered with Apple to distribute its application for use on the iPhone. Salesforce application anytime, anywhere, and Salesforce introduced a development tool for integrating with Facebook social network to enable customers to build applications that call functions at the Facebook site. In order to grow its revenues to the levels that industry observes and Wall Street eventually expects, Salesforce is changing its focus from selling a suite of software applications to providing a broader cloud computing platform on which many software companies deliver applications. As CEO of the Salesforce put it over the past decade, we focused on software as a service. In the next decade, Salesforce.com will really be focused on the platform as a service. Now, what they're doing is, because they're going into problems, and because they were facing certain kind of challenges, so इन्होंने क्या किया that they started providing additional functionality. क्या थी? They were doing the partnership with the Google Apps. They were doing the partnership with Apple. They were integrating their system with the Facebook as well. Also, इन्होंने service improvement की. Service improvement कैसे कर रहे हैं? That they were going from software as a service to platform as a service. Or platform as a service की जब हमने बात की थी, we said that they basically give you the development tools as well as the software tools as well as the infrastructure to create your own applications, right? The company has intensified its efforts to provide cloud computing offering to its customers, sorry. The new Salesforce.com website places much more emphasis on cloud computing, grouping products into 3 types of clouds: the Sales Cloud, the Service Cloud, and the Custom Cloud. Right, the Sales and Service Clouds consist of applications meant to improve sales and customer service, respectively, but the Custom Cloud is another name for the Salesforce application development platform. Right, आपके Sales Cloud उन्होंने फिर 3 तरह के clouds अपने website के ऊपर बनाए. One was the Sales Cloud, the Service Cloud, and the Custom Cloud. ठीक है, Sales or Service was following the same software as a service platform, right? But on the other hand, Custom Cloud was their platform as a service जो थी वो दे रहे थे. Custom Cloud was basically the name that was given to their platform cloud platform को जब उन्होंने name दिया, that was the Custom Cloud. That means के different लोग उसको use करके अपनी applications develop कर सकते थे. So it provides a set of development tools and IT services that enables users to customize their Salesforce customer relationship management applications or build entirely new applications and run them in the cloud on Salesforce data center infrastructure. Using App Exchange, small businesses can go online and easily download over 950 software applications. Right जी, अब उस application का नाम उन्होंने App Exchange रखा है. Salesforce cloud infrastructure includes 2 data centers in the United States and a 3rd in Singapore. So they basically give you an idea of उनके जो data centers हैं वो कहाँ पे located हैं. An international data center IDC report estimated that the Force.com platform enables users to build and run business applications and websites 5 times faster and at half the cost of known cloud alternatives. So basically that service that they were giving, that platform as a service, was a much cost reduction application. For instance, RehabCare, a national provider for medical rehabilitation service, used Force.com to build a mobile iPhone patient admission application for clinicians. RehabCare's information system team built a prototype application within 4 days that runs on the Force.com platform. तो अब उससे क्या होता है कि different companies जो हैं वो अपनी applications create कर सकते हैं much faster and at a very low cost. Right, the question is whether the audience for Salesforce App Exchange and Force.com platforms will prove large enough to deliver the level of growth Salesforce wants. It still isn't clear whether the company will generate revenue it needs to provide cloud computing services on the same scale as Google or Amazon and also make its cloud computing investments pay off. Some analysts believe that platform may not be attractive to larger companies or for their application needs. Yet another challenge is providing constant availability. Salesforce.com subscribers depend on the service being available 24/7. Right? So again, एक और challenge उनके पास that I mentioned before is that they have to be available. उनकी services available होने चाहिए because the companies require that since their software is also available, so the software उन्होंने cloud में rent किए हैं, they also need to be available as well. But thanks to the previously described outages, many companies have rethought their dependency on software as a service. Salesforce.com provides tools to assure customers about their system reliability and also offers PC applications that tie into their services so users can work offline. So, because उनके outages हुए थे और उनका reliability problem आ गया था, so that's why they have certain kinds of tools to assure that customers को assure करने के लिए कि they are reliable, and also they have tools to so that इस किस्म के softwares उनके हैं that the users can use them offline as well. Still, a number of companies are reluctant to jump to the service on the, software as a service and cloud computing bandwagon. Moreover, it is still not clear whether software delivered over the web will cost less in the long run as well. ठीक है, बहुत सारी companies जो हैं that have to rethink about it because they're not sure that on the long run जब आप एक सॉफ्टवेयर को ज़्यादा अरसे के लिए यूज़ कर रहे हैं तो उसका रेंट देना इज़ मच मोर चीपर, या फिर आप वंस यू बाय द सॉफ्टवेयर एंड यूज़ इट फॉर अ लॉन्ग टाइम तो वो चीप पड़ता है. So the companies have to rethink that either they use the cloud software or the software as a service should be used for companies or not. Anyways, let's come back to the questions now. We've looked into the case study, cloud services go mainstream. Right जी, अब इसमें हम देख लेते हैं questions को और फिर थोड़ा सा और clear हो जाएगा. How does Salesforce use cloud computing? ठीक है, Salesforce जो है वो cloud computing किस तरह यूज कर रही है? That is currently they're using the SaaS, that means software as a service on demand model. ठीक है, that was their initial use of the cloud computing. What are some of the challenges facing Salesforce as it continues to grow? How well will it be able to meet those challenges? Right जी, जब हमने challenges की बात की थी, we said that on demand model के benefits भी हैं and challenges भी हैं. The last point was the challenges. Challenges क्या थे? Increased competition था from the traditional companies that are already working with them, as well as the companies that were emerging companies, ठीक है, the new companies that were following the same pattern as well. So they had the increased competition from the competitors. Then they had the challenge of the security and reliability. Why? Because उनके reliability breach जो थी वो 2 बार खराब हुई थी. That means their services were down twice, and they had a security breach once as well. So they had that challenge as well. The third challenge was they needed to expand business model. That means because they need to stay in the business, they needed to expand the business model because not everybody wanted a service, they wanted to build their own applications as well. And the last challenge was their constant availability. They had to assure the people that the companies that they will be constantly available. Right, Ji. How were they able to meet the challenges? Is that they did the partnerships and they did the integration. They did the partnerships with the Google as well as Apple, and they did the integration with the Facebook as well. Another thing that it did was provided a broader cloud computing platform. That means they have the software as a service platform as well, and again they had the platform as a service. They were providing that functionality as well. Providing tools to assure customers about system reliability. Again, the last point was that they were providing the tools to the customers about the system reliability, that they will be available throughout 24/7. Also offering PC applications so that users can work offline as well. So, जो challenges थे वो इनको इस तरह meet कर रहे थे. Next is, what factors would you take into account in deciding whether to use Salesforce.com for your business or not? ठीक है जी, कौन से factors हैं जिनको आप देखेंगे if you want to use such a service from Salesforce.com? What do you think? Right, the factors are that the applications have to be available. Number 1 is availability. Number 2 is reliability. Number 3 is security. And then you have to look at the long-term costs and subscription costs. कि उनकी subscription cost या rent cost जो हैं, either in the long term they're going to increase or they're going to decrease. Yeah, it would be beneficial for you to rent, or is it going to be beneficial for you if you buy a software? So you have to look into that. Also, you have to look into the customization. Customization में आप देखेंगे या तो आपको software as a service चाहिए, or you want to have the platform as a service कि अगर आपने उन्हीं के software को थोड़ा बहुत customize करना है और उन्हीं के cloud पे चलाना है या नहीं चलाना. So there are different kinds of factors that according to the need of the organization or according to the need of your business, you have to look into these factors to decide either you want to use their softwares or not. Right, ji. So these are a few questions that we answered from the case study. ठीक है, it was an interesting case study जिसमें आपने देखा था cloud computing को थोड़ा और detail में, उसके benefits, उसके problems, उसके challenges, right, and how this company was trying to overcome these challenges and how it was trying to move from one kind of service providing to another kind of service providing. Also, I forgot to mention before that cloud computing is being implemented in Pakistan as well. ठीक है, we have this पाकिस्तान में जो है the very known company is Rapid Compute, जो आपका cloud service provider है Rapid Compute, and also PTCL is also looking at starting its cloud services as well, right? जी cloud computing PTCL भी implement कर रहा है, so you can go onto their site rapidcompute.com and have a look at their services that they're offering. Also आप उसके सेक्शन में जाएंगे basic cloud computing के basics में जाएंगे और frequently asked questions में देखेंगे, और उन्होंने बहुत आसान language में बताया हुआ about the different kinds of cloud services that they are offering और उसके simple questions. So this is what we did today. Was we looked at the emerging technologies, the different kinds of hardware and software trends that are happening nowadays. We looked into the grid computing, we looked at the virtualization और उसी से cloud computing को हमने detail में देखा था. On the software side, we looked at the service-oriented architecture, we looked at what are web services, how they can be used to improve the businesses. Also, we looked at the open source softwares and this software as a service, how can that be used for cost effectiveness. And we also looked at how when you're changing from one IT infrastructure to another kind of IT infrastructure, तो आपने अपने businesses को manage किस तरह करना है, IT infrastructure को manage किस तरह करना है. And when you're talking about implementing a different kind of infrastructure, then what are the ways to manage the cost of that infrastructure. So this is all what we did today. We will meet in the next lecture. Thank you.